Okay, let's start with the New Telegraph newspaper, where it's a bit of a back and forth between the presidency and Sule Lamido, the former governor of Jigawa State, about the role that Bola Tinubu, the president, played in the struggle for June 12. Well, he said that the president had actually supported the annulment. The presidency has responded that no, his revisionist attempt would not be tolerated because that is not the point. The president fought for democracy through Nadeco, was even exiled or left the country for self-exile, where people like Lamido compromised. Those were some of the words that were used by the presidency. But the headline says, Tinubu supported June 12 annulment, not part of pro-democracy struggle. That is what elicited the reaction from the presidency. Now, the headline is credited to Sule Lamido. The writer is ex-Jigawa governor jealous of president's credentials, trying to rewrite history with his lies. That's according to Bayo Nanuga, who replied on behalf of the presidency. I'm happy that our guest, first guest, has been through all of the ropes, so he understands the story in depth, critically. Well, everybody's giving their own version of June 12. Whether some people were pretenders to be supporters of June 12, or they were really heroes of June 12. So that is a conversation right now. So Lamido is saying, no, the president actually supported annulment, that a few things happened during the Abacha regime, which is why he made a U-turn. What the president said, presidency said that's a big lie. That's not true. So if you go to Bayo Nanuga's page, handle on X, he's written a long stuff with quotes where the president stood up to the military when they had to go and convert themselves somewhere in Lagos as a National Assembly, insisting that this is not going to work, and even showing pictures of the president and Abacha and Abiola in one frame. So it's been a back and forth. You remember since IBB wrote that book, he's been all flurry of reactions.
Generated controversy.
I don't know, everybody's trying to tell their story in different ways. But history will vindicate the just. That's what he said.
Well, it's an important conversation because it also came through on our sister political program yesterday, with the guest challenging what he understood to be the president's participation in the June 12 struggle at that time. And he specifically referred to, what seemed to be the president being in exile. How could he have fought for democracy, from exile? And it's important that these issues are coming to light. It's a form of education for those who had not reached the age of accountability during the June 12 struggle, so that history will be put in proper perspective. And as you said, Jeffrey, the wheat will be separated from the chaff. But let's quickly go to the next paper. And this one is The Guardian newspaper. And take a look at the headline from The Guardian newspaper. Hope for Nigeria's troubled fiscal outlook as oil prices head to $80 per barrel. That's it. There you have it. And what are the remote factors contributing to, that particular development? Look at what's happening in the world. Israel-Iran tensions shake markets. Oil and energy, crude oil surges by $14 per barrel. Remember, it was hovering around a little over $60 per barrel. Precious metals and safe haven currencies, gold prices jump, amongst others. You can follow up on that yourself. But there are other, more concerning implications for the domestic economy back home with the increase in the pump price of petrol. So while we're gaining increased effects on the one hand, Nigerians are suffering for it on the other hand. So when will all those progress that the administration is quoting in terms of microeconomics, when will it trickle down to Nigerians at the grassroots?
Well, for the Federation, as far as the Federation is concerned, this is good news. But for citizens, this may not be totally good news.
Absolutely.
Because it's good news in terms of revenue. We're in excess of almost $5, about $3 to $4. Assumption was about $75. We're screaming that this is overestimation, not knowing that these upsets will happen in terms of supply chain disruptions. So this happens whenever anything affects Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is always a concern because that's where about 20% of the global oil passes through daily. when you have that kind of volume within a strait, it's quite concerned. So the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman into the Arabian Sea, I know that there's a pipeline that runs from Saudi Arabia, which is the peninsula, up to the other part of the Red Sea as well. So everybody's trying to explore all the options. So anything that hits the Strait of Hormuz, which is where most of the oil passes, is going to impact the rest of the world. So on the other hand, countries that have that sell oil would naturally be selling better because they'll be buying at the oil prices will spike. But for citizens and consumers like you and I who buy it at pump price, that means as well, because our market is regulated, it's not subsidized anymore, the prices will go up. But people are saying we cannot be depending on geopolitical conflict and distortion to be able to grow our economy. Well, but this is not the first time.
It's still curious for me because we now have capacity for domestic production.
Yeah, so
why it should be going up, I still do not understand that mathematics, Jeffrey.
No, because oil is priced in dollars and it's a global commodity. So whatever happens, although we can buy oil in Naira here in the dollar equivalent, so that kind of lessens the FX pressure on our FX right here that we don't have. 30% of it is caused by this FX pressure. So, well, appeal courts. This is news. Nigerian News Direct says appeal court judgment showdown as PDP chairman set to resume at secretariats today. Appeal court judgment showdown as PDP chairman set to resume at secretariats today, as APC accuses PDP of planning violent takeover. We are still in charge as duly elected chairman, APC chairman. This should be the issue of Osun State. Well, I've never seen the kind of electoral jurisprudence we see in Nigeria is very concerning, where judgment of court should actually give closure, but it causes conundrum and confusion just immediately afterwards. I do not know where the problem is coming from. Is it the bench? Is it the bar? Is it the litigants? I do not know. But this is quite interesting.
Will the problem be solved with a defection? I'm wondering.
So for context, for those who are not familiar with the story, there were trial court incidents as far as the election in 2022 before Oyetola left office, electing chairman into the office. Well, the APC lost on both ends, where the PDP and the APP took them to court. Well, the APC appealed both cases. January, sometime earlier this year, the APC's judgment came in favor of the APC. As the APC judgment came, one of them that they appealed as far as the PDP case is concerned. So that's why they call themselves reinstated chairman. But when they went to release the case that has to do with the APP, because for want of diligent prosecution, they didn't follow through. So they tried to release that case that nullified the election. Well, the appeal court said, no, this is self-inflicted. This case it lacks merit, is hereby dismissed. So the PDP is holding on to the fact that based on the judgment that was appealed by the APC against the APP, that the Court of Appeal has now dismissed the relisting. What is subsisting is the nullification of the election in Osun State. So the PDP chairman holds sway. Remember, they've also had election that sworn in new chairman, but the APC said no, that's not correct.
On the strength of that, the PDP is saying their own chairman is elected. So
the APC now is saying no, let's look at the judgments that favored us as well. So it's just a confusing. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice will be able to do justice to all of this, hopefully, in fairness to all parties. But I think we'll have one more paper before we bring in our guests, because I think.
Yes, and that will be Daily Independent. Daily Independent leads with a story that looks at the impact of the financial space, and this is how it is captioned: struggling banks face hurdles to navigate recapitalization. About 10 lenders under CBN watch for recapitalization risks. Well, the recapitalization deadline, I believe, is in March 2026. So banks are in a race to strengthen their vaults to ensure that they meet the recapitalization deadline. We hope that that process is done diligently, to avoid any concerns about account holders and the safety of their funds. We certainly do not want a repeat of some of the consequences of the recapitalization of 2005.
I'm sure some are already meeting the deadline. The whole idea of recapitalization is that we have enough capacity within our banking vaults to be able to lend as much as possible. If we're trying to look at a $1 trillion economy, then our recapitalization is critical. We cannot have a situation where one telco is bigger than our entire banking system. It doesn't work that way. But we hope we're going to get there where we'll do big things as a country, because if we're building this economy to be a big economy, we cannot do it without the banking sector. They are critical to lending and all of that for people to drive development. But we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll be bringing in Martin Zaloja, who is a veteran journalist, is the immediate past managing director and editor-in-chief of the Guardian newspaper. He'll be joining us to break down what we're dealing with as far as the state of the nation is concerned. He joins us from our Abuja studio, but we'll take a break. We'll be right back.